Marshall Hobson-Ritz and Professor Kara Beauchamp are on a space exploration in the Rosette Nebula, about 5,000 light years away, for their Cornell Summer Research Institute project.
Basically, it's a region that's a bunch of gas and dust particles in a region of space that also has newly formed stars, relatively young compared to other stars that we know.
We can only see the 2D shape of the nebula, so they're trying to figure out the 3D shape, mapping out the brightness, thickness, and electron density of potential models. They're working with data that was collected in 1985 with a radio telescope, and Marshall is learning computer coding to decipher all the data.
There's no real way to tell what the right shape would be, since again we can only get one view, but we can see, like, what does the data look like? Does it make physical sense for the data to look this way when we apply models that we're making? And so we've come up with models that are better than ones that we started with.
This is an extension of the research Beauchamp started during CSRI 2016.
The models that we looked at last summer were all spherical, and we made some adjustments to those spherical models. And this summer, I've asked Marshall to look at a cylindrical model, and it turns out that working with a cylinder is significantly more difficult than working with a sphere. And it has taken us sort of several times of going back and forth, sort of thinking about how do we think about this cylindrical model and come up with mathematical expressions that can tell us the thickness through the cylinder.
Beauchamp says she's grateful they have the luxury of spending their time thinking about these types of questions. These two have a bigger goal of understanding more deeply what's out in the universe.
When you do science, you end up studying a teeny tiny little question because that question is tractable and the bigger questions aren't tractable. So the big questions are, how do stars form? So the universe is made out of gas and dust, and in some parts of the universe this gas and dust collects into a more dense region and stars form in those regions, and when stars form in those regions, planetary systems form around those stars. And so astronomers are interested in those kind of big questions. How does that whole process happen?
This research is also confirming a bigger question that Marshall is confronting of his goals after Cornell. He's planning to go to graduate school to continue studying astrophysics after he graduates. This is just one of many research projects for CSRI. For others, visit our website at cornellcollege.edu/research.